I think at teletour, that's really what we're trying to accomplish, and to show the world that there's not just these main checklist sort of bucket list places you have to go to. There's so much to the world, and especially shedding light on some of these um, communities all over the world that haven't, or really don't have a social presence, or that people don't know much about. How would you say that teletour has been a positive impact for reaching these communities, or with tour guides? I know you touched on, COVID has completely changed the landscape of the industry, but would you say your experience with teletour being a positive force in the tourism industry?
Yeah, and I think in two very different ways. As I've sort of been developing on my journey with teletour, and seeing the way that it's emerging. I think there's two great ways that it has an impact, and I think it's sort of one of your very first reasons for coming up with the whole concept is that there are always going to be places that you're never going to get to, but you want to see it from a curious level. You want to see it from a grassroots level. You want to have an opportunity to actually see something that you're not going to get on, a big, as good as they are, a big National Geographic documentary. You want, the real destination to shine through, and to meet the people, and to really get a sense of the feeling of the people, and what makes them tick, as well as just seeing beautiful vistas and palaces and things like that. So I think from that opportunity of providing a platform where people can take a journey to destinations that they might never get to, I think it's great. Excuse me. But I also think, giving tour guides and these small companies the opportunity to showcase what they do and to showcase their destinations. And, I know this is why we connected initially, but, I think if you've just got, standard packages and programs being sold, it just becomes a ubiquitous plan. If you are giving tour guides the ability to showcase what they do, and we work with a lot of what I call experience providers, and they had looked at what standardized tourism was doing and the standard tourism packages, and this, you go to, it's almost timed to the minute. You go to Agra and you do tuk tuk tuk, you go to Jaipur, you do tuk tuk tuk. Well, why not spend an extra couple of nights there, which is much better in terms of sustainability anyway, on your carbon footprint on a destination, but get to know the people and go on tours with people who truly live there and who are passionate about their destination, and who also support their local communities within that destination. So, I was going to pick on India or Sri Lanka. Those are the destinations I know best. But if you get to Jaipur, for example, yes, there's a city palace. Yes, there's the Amber Fort. But it's got, why else is Jaipur famous? And nobody looks at these things. So it's got the most phenomenal textile industry. It's got, blue pottery. It's a fantastic adventure destination. You can go horse riding and mountain biking and trekking and hot air ballooning. There's so many different aspects there that people don't get to find out about. So by going directly to the people who provide those experiences and giving them a chance to showcase what they do, it really gives people the opportunity to, see those destinations differently, and also gives them the opportunity to go, hey, do you know, I didn't know you could do that in Jaipur. Yes, let's spend an extra night. Let's go and meet those guys. Let's go horse riding. Let's go in a hot air balloon. The same thing around any of the destinations in India. You could actually go and spend a week just in one destination and do different activities. And the fact that teletour is now showcasing all these different opportunities, it's giving the tour guides a voice, which is fantastic, and also showcasing the real destinations to the potential traveler.
Absolutely. I think what it boils down to, and what you said, is there's a lot of value in the raw, authentic, local perspective, which is exactly what we're trying to showcase with teletour. I know, if you focus too much on, we have to see these top travel destination, I think you're letting the experience pass you by, and not, really getting out of it everything of why you travel. You travel to see another culture, to experience, another way of life, and not just necessarily, see a monument or those types of things. How do you feel, the landscape of travel in the future, or what are things that are exciting you about the future of travel now that we're coming back from COVID and we're hopefully experiencing a travel boom and we're seeing more activity? Do you feel, the approach to how tourists are traveling is different now with COVID or coming back out of that, or what do you see in regards to the future?
I see. I mean, I think it's very, very hard to generalize because there are many different kinds of tourism, So, I started my career with India in very much the luxury sector, and it was all about these fantastic palaces and who does palaces like India does, really, and the entire luxury sector. Over the last 10 years, I've morphed very much into more sustainable, authentic, experiential travel. But there is still a market for everything, and there are still people who will still go for different markets. I know some people who, they just want the luxury, but I think people are getting more adventurous. I think people are very much more aware of the impact. So I was on a course this morning, and there were 60 people on the course, and one lady said, "Oh, I wasn't here last week. I went on holiday, but we went by train instead of flying." So I think people are now starting to think more about the impact of travel. I think people are looking for more experiential travel. I think people are looking to slow things down and really get to appreciate a destination more rather than just dashing through and having tick lists. From talking to quite a few people in the industry, that's the feedback I'm getting, is people might go on holiday for longer, but do fewer destinations and spend more time in each one. And I think people really are looking now, there's such a big movement towards looking for more sustainable opportunities, whether it's a hotel that, has really good eco practices, whether it's experiences that go out and benefit the local community rather than, and I think this is another thing, and I think it's a big challenge that people are going to face is, people consider, offbeat became the buzzword. Or the buzzwords, and I think people say, "Oh yeah, we're going to go offbeat." Just by being in a more rural location doesn't make your travel more sustainable. Voyeuristic travel is not beneficial to the local communities. If you're just going to a rural destination to take some pictures and say you've been there, that's not beneficial. And I think people are looking for much more authentic experiences where they really do get to peel back the layers of a destination, where they do get to know more about the culture, where they do get to interact with the people. My company has a tagline, and it's monuments create the backdrop, but people create the experiences. And it's always, when people come back from a trip, it's that memory, it's that encounter they had with that person. When they weren't being rushed around, they stopped to have a chai at a local chai shop, or, I was with a group once and they wanted to walk into the middle of these paddy fields and have their photographs taken. And then a lady came out of the house and she offered them all watermelon, and they went into her house and spent 2 hours there having watermelon and interacting with this lady, totally unplanned. And I think allowing the time to have those more authentic and enriching experiences are what people are now going to be more actively seeking.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. I love that tagline. I think that really resonates, especially at Teletour. One of our main values and missions is sustainable travel. So I'd love to, how do you think now, we can talk about this, but how do you think people can implement sustainable travel? Because I think it's not necessarily just eco-friendly travel, but it's also, it's much more than that. How do you think are some positive ways that tourists can really apply the idea of sustainable travel to their trips?
I think there's 2 key ways. One that we've already touched on, which is slowing it down. Slow it down and have more time. You can, and to find a way of connecting with the local people. If you're in Jodhpur, for example, so many tour companies go, right, Jodhpur, see the fort, off you go. But actually, you can lose yourself a day in the back streets of Jodhpur. There's a massive lake in the middle of the old city that nobody knows about. You just don't think you're in the middle of this desert and there's this lake in the middle of the city. You can go on amazing Mawari horse safaris. You can go out and meet the Bishnoi tribals in the more remote villages. It's phenomenal for photography. There's markets there where they have these unique prints, and villages where they make these unique prints. And I think it's, if you slow it down, and if you're not just focused on the tick list, slow it down, research, find out what else there is to do there. But the other thing, and I would, I'm a staunch believer in this, is, finding good, tried and tested, but local, smaller companies. If you're going to Gujarat, find a really good company in Gujarat who really know their stuff and who are passionate about their region. If you're going to, Sri Lanka, find a local company there and check them out and see what authentic experiences they are offering. It's kind of the equivalent of shopping local, isn't it? We've all been encouraged, and particularly, where I'm in Yorkshire at the moment, go out and support your local shops. It's the same kind of thing. If you're, why would you book a holiday to Sri Lanka from some guy sitting in Delhi? Why would you book a trip to the Northeast from some guy sitting in Delhi? Go and find a really good company in the Northeast who share your values. And these small companies are the people who are very passionate about their destinations. They've thought really well about the programs that they offer, and they engage the local communities. So in terms of being more sustainable, those guys are there. That's what they do. So I think, those are two key ways. One is, really slow it down, really research, really find the other opportunities in a destination, but find really good local companies who are passionate about supporting their local communities as well when you travel.
Definitely. I think it's easy to find your big players in the travel industry, right? They're the ones that have a presence on social media, but actually getting to connect with those local businesses, like you said. So, that's the goal with teletour, is to be able to give them a voice and a local platform. And like you said, I think really traveling is all about, how a country and culture made you feel when you left, right? It's really those experiences with the locals that leave a lasting impression. And, I'm definitely, you making me reflect on my time in Jaipur and all of these countries. And I'm really wishing I would have kind of changed my itinerary and allowed myself that, time to slow it down and really just appreciate and soak it all in.
Yeah. And as you say, that's the beauty of what teletour does, because it gives people an opportunity to see what other regions are there. I know in the work that we've been doing in India, it hasn't been the people from the mainstream destinations necessarily who've come back and showcased. It's been people from the lesser known destinations, and again, I think this shows that they're passionate in what they do, because they know that their region is beautiful, but it doesn't get the press, it doesn't get the publicity. So for them, having teletour to give them that opportunity to showcase their regions, which are, places that people might not necessarily have heard of, it's fantastic. And I think the other thing that is great with teletour is the fact that you're not white labeling. This is, a guy in this destination, he's showing you what he can do, and you can connect directly with him. So every sort of small local company, every guide can benefit directly. They're getting their region out to the world, and they have the opportunity to connect with people through that as well, which is great.
Definitely. I'm a firm believer that any corner of the world, everyone should be proud of where they're from, and there's some value everywhere. And so, hopes with teletour as a platform, we're giving everyone the voice and a way for them to show, their neighborhood, their city, those types of things. So, well, Phillipa, thank you so much for your time. This is great. Love always, you're very inspiring and motivating as a fellow traveler. Always, you make me just want to go book a flight tomorrow.
Let's do it. Let's go explore.
I love it. Well, like I said, thank you for your time and for getting a chat today.
Very welcome.